All right. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to just pause the recording because we don't need to have this going.
See my Benedict.
Start the recording. So good morning, everybody. My name is Jess, and I'm the new president of the PNA for the next 2 years. And we're super glad you're here. A little bit about me. I've been an RN since 2016, so I'm a relatively new nurse. I currently work in a specialty office in Rhinebeck as sort of a triage nurse kind of a position, and I'm in school to become a family nurse practitioner. And my goal is to set up a holistic primary care practice. And I'm excited to be part of the PNA. I joined when I was in nursing school, partly because I really wanted to, I came to nursing an activist and an advocate, and that's been an important piece of my nursing practice, and I wanted the PNA to be a place where I could do that. And so as president, that's one of my hopes, is that we can really reinvigorate our organization. And it seems like there's never been a better time to advocate for nurses, because we're doing really important work right now, always, but especially right now. So that's a little bit about me. I'm going to share my screen so you can see this lovely PowerPoint that we've made. And we'll go from there. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
We can. And Crumb, go ahead and text back that you can see it. Because you can't talk.
So Sue Kehoe, and whose title I guess I never put in here, sorry Sue, and Lorraine Strombeck and I are going to be your panelists today. So we're going to start out with, what is the PNA? So we're a professional organization, and while there's some overlap between professional organizations and unions, I just wanted to clarify a little bit about the difference. So as a professional organization, we're a group that encompasses anyone in the nursing profession. So that includes LPNs and RNs and students of both professions. And it doesn't matter your position in the organization, whatever your role. So we have quite a wide variety of nurses, from management to staff nurses in hospitals, in clinics, in parishes, community health. And we would love to diversify that population even more, because as we know, nursing is a very diverse profession, and the more perspectives we have, the stronger we are. And our goal is to look at issues that intersect with our profession across multiple different positions, and it's not specific to any one employer. Whereas a union tends to be one group of nurses, so only staff nurses, or only X part of nurses, and usually they're organized into bargaining units, which have to do with one employer. So while there are statewide unions and professional unions that work at a bigger level to target nursing issues across the board, they tend to be organized into role-specific organizations. So we're a little bit broader, and while there's definitely overlap, there's a little bit of a difference there. So our mission is to advance nursing education, and to advocate for high standards of nursing care in the health environment, and to create a forum for mentoring for all nurses and nursing students in our community. So those are the three legs of the stool that is our organization, and we've done really well with the advocacy of high standards for nursing care, and in an education way. We're going to talk a little bit later about all the educational programs that we have put together every year, and the hope is that we'll be able to grow some of the other legs of our mission in terms of supporting mentoring and taking care of each other, because especially right now, healthcare professionals are really burning out. There's a lot going on that makes our jobs hard, and nobody gets it like we do. So it's important that we have each other's backs. So we are, right now, the way we are organized, we have a board and we have our general membership, and we just had an election. Thank you to those of you who voted. So I'm the new president for the next 2 years. Barbara Peterson is the president-elect, which means that in 2 years she'll step into the role of president. And in the meantime, she's my backup. And then Kathleen Smith is our treasurer and head of membership. Ingrid Wood is our secretary. Sue McBride and Sue Kehoe, there you are. That's what you are, Sue.
There you go.
As are on our nominating committee, and I believe we still have one seat open there. So if that's exciting and inspiring to you, we would love to have you join the nominating committee. And our board of directors are Sue Manfro, Liz Mezzacappa, Pat Russell, Diane Davis, and Kathy Mellert. And then we have some committees, and the committees are designed to be the place where the work gets done. And we would love to have some new folks join these committees. So as you're listening, if you are already in the association and you are not active in a committee and something on this list inspires you, we'd love to have you. And if you have a friend who's a nurse who you think would be perfect for one of these committees, we'd love to have them join and be part of the committee as well. So the bylaws committee is sort of at a resting phase. We just updated our bylaws. As you may remember, you just voted on those too. So it was me and Sue Manfro and Lorraine who did that. And but it would be great to have a committee to review those regularly to make sure we stay current. Our membership and finance chair is Kathleen Smith. Legislation is me. Education is Judy Lukazeski, and our Nightingale committee is headed by Kathy Hotelling, and our publicity and marketing committee is looking for an excited individual with some tech savviness. So if that's you, please let us know. So that's what I have to share. I'm just going to take a look here and see if anyone had any questions. Oh, good. Thank you, Anne. All right. So that's it from me. I'll turn it over to Lorraine. You're up, Lorraine.
Okay. I can only see your PowerPoint. Can you get to the next slide?
Yes, I think so. There we go.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. And I just thought this was a good topic for me to talk about because my last nursing experience was, as I said before, was teaching BOCES. It was probably one of the most rewarding things that I've done over the years. I've had lots and lots. I guess I could be honest and say that I graduated from Bellevue School of Nursing in 1967. So now everyone knows how old I am. Anyway, so I've come a long way. One thing I used to tell the students is, as a nurse, I have always had a job in nursing, one way, shape, or form. Why does the PNA matter to me? I think it's because of what Jess said, that the importance of being a group of nurses who understand, especially you nurses who are out there working. It's so nice to come to these meetings that we have for the PNA and maybe just spend that time just for yourself and get to talk to other nurses who are struggling, or maybe they're retired nurses who've been there, done that, and they can be supportive. So this organization really offers a lot of support to a variety of nurses in a variety of positions. And I think Jess kind of emphasized that. It's not just the Health Alliance. I did kind of go on the street like an interviewer, and I interviewed 3 of our members. I actually was on the street with a microphone and represented PNA instead of CNN. I'm just kidding, of course. But anyway, one of the nurses, when I asked her, what does the organization mean to you? She said, it's important to belong to an organization for nurses. that there is strength in numbers, and that these meetings we interface, as we said, with nurses from various experiences. We have in our organization nurses, school nurses, wound care nurses. We have psych nurses. We have instructors. And then we have a lot of students that we want to stay involved with us. And for me, that's one of the most rewarding things. When I see a new member or a new student, I really want to reach out to them and see how are they doing and welcoming them to our organization. The next person I interviewed said it's important for her to belong to this organization because of the networking and for the education programs, helping us to stay current and keeping in touch with nurses that you might work with. I kind of on a side read the obituary on a nurse that I worked with many years ago. And it was interesting to see all the things outside of the nursing, outside of the job that she was involved in. And I never knew that because we're always so busy. I think that's the biggest word for nurses, no matter what generation you're in, is busy. We are just always so busy, overwhelmed busy. So it was just nice to spend the time and take that time for yourself. So that's what this nurse is saying. She talked about it, just like Jess put up on the PowerPoint, the comparison between the union and the PNA. And this nurse said when she was working, the union seemed to be involved with contracts and negotiations. And our organization is so different. All the education programs we offer are just for our own benefit. There are choices that we make to go instead of being a mandatory class. And you'd be surprised when we start to read them off, the variety of topics that we've had. The last person I interviewed talked about the Pulse Beat. And this is our newsletter that comes out about 4 times a year. And Linda, she takes care of the Pulse Beat. I don't know if you're out there, but you do a tremendous job, better than the New York Times, better than the Wall Street Journal, better than American Journal of Nursing. She gives us so much information, and a lot of good things are on there too, congratulating people for different awards, things like that. So these 3 people felt it was really important to belong to the organization for that support and the different levels of experience. And these meetings are time to take care of yourself. You know, you do get busy, and when you work in wherever you work as a nurse, you come home, and no matter who you are, what you do, you have another job, it seems. So these are times, 4 times a year, that you just give to yourself. And when we get back on track, when we can really see each other again, you're going to see how wonderful it is. And another nurse that we have that takes care of our venues is Judy. And she always finds the right place for our meetings. It's a comfortable place. The food is usually delicious. We're never sorry that we take that time away, those couple of hours of listening to a speaker, eating good food, and the camaraderie that we have from other nurses. Pretty much, I wanted to share with you, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, the different programs that we've had over the past year. And it really is amazing when you look at it. A variety of topics. I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but the last event we had, thanks to Ann Crum, who was co-president with me at the time, it was right before all the rules and regulations about COVID came into play. It was in March, and Ann pushed ahead and said, let's have it anyway. And we did. And that was the last time we met in person. And the topic was the aging eye with Dr. Chima. So that's just an example of one of the topics. The topic before that was chair yoga. So here we are offering something where you can just relax and pay attention to yourself and your needs as a nurse and just as a woman. We had all different, I'm not going to read them all, but one of the topics we had in November was on the Spanish flu. And isn't that interesting that now we're in the middle of a pandemic and the doctor spoke in November about the Spanish flu that occurred about 100 years ago. So that was kind of ironic. And then I'll just skip all the way to a year ago in March, well, actually a few years ago, we had a speaker talk about advanced directives and the end of life care. And at that meeting was a lawyer who focuses on elder care. His wife is a nurse, his mother-in-law is a nurse. And so my husband and I actually went and visited him, and he gave us some advice about legal things. So a lot can come out of these conferences and talks. We learn a lot. So I just wanted, there are many that I could read each one, but they're just always so interesting and kind of out of the box for us and current. And another conference we had was actually on telehealth. And I forget what year that was. Oh, here, I have it here. In 2017, the doctor came up from Westchester to talk about telehealth. Now, can you believe it? That was just like the beginning of all that we're doing now. Patients actually have televisits with their doctors now because of the pandemic. So we were ahead of our time. Anyway, those are the topics that we've had. I don't know if there's anything else. Let's see, we'll go on stay with the PowerPoint. So we talked about the Pulse Beat. This is a forum and information about nursing, the quarterly newsletter. It's sent out to all the members with information. You have it there on the PowerPoint, so I don't need to read it all to you, but I will. So we have the Pulse Beat. I mentioned that about Linda. And then we have a Facebook page, and the address is there for you. And we also have a website. So those are places you can go to find out what's happening. And also you can make comments of yourself. If you find an interesting article about nursing, we can put it up for you on there, and everybody can look at that. So the next slide is support for nurses. This is another thing we do in the organization, is once a year, we collect for the Nurses House. And this is an organization dedicated to helping registered nurses in need. The Nurses House offers assistance with housing expenses, medical expenses to RNs who are seriously ill, injured, disabled, or facing other dire circumstances. We don't know too much more about it, but here's the address, and we should really find out maybe for our next meeting exactly what's happening today with what are they doing with the COVID and the pandemic and all of our nurses being exposed. And maybe that would be helpful to find out a little bit more. The other beautiful thing that this organization does is what's called a Nightingale service. And this usually takes place at a memorial or at a wake for nurses who have passed on. And it's a chance to honor the life of nurses. And you'd be surprised the things that come up. One of the last ones I went to, a couple of nurses shared about the nurse who had passed. Her name was Fran. And they talked about how in a snowstorm, Fran would invite these nurses that she was working with on the night shift to come home with her, because then they wouldn't have to drive home in the snow because she lived a little bit closer to the hospital. So these things are so amazing and beautiful. And always the funeral director seeks us out. If he knows it's a nurse, he or she who runs the funeral home, if they know it's a nurse, they try to contact us so that we will come and kind of give a little, give some honor to the nurse that passed on. So that's another thing we do. So yeah, I bet you didn't know all these things that we do. That's just amazing. At the end, this is the last slide that I have. Well, maybe not. Nope, I've got a couple of slides left. But anyway, this is high standards of nursing in the health environment. This is what we want to promote. We want to promote education about nursing policy. We want to be able to advocate for change. We want to put the voice of nursing into the public. We want to be advocates for our patients, and we want to support each other and push for change. So we don't want to settle. Even nurses, as myself, are retired, you're always a nurse. So you always want to be aware of what's happening in the field and what we can do to help each other. The last slide, this is the last slide, I promise. This actually was kind of fun. Thank you, Jess, for putting this together. At the end of the year in May, we usually have a special dinner, and we have been able to have that the past 2 years. Maybe in 2021 we'll be able to have it again. But at this special dinner, we usually recognize nurses and community organizations that are outstanding. So one of the awards we give is the Eleanor Bennett Nurse of the Year Award. And this is honoring a PNA or Ulster County member who has rendered distinguished service to the association and promotes nursing over an extended period of time. The board of directors usually determines that award, and the nurses who've received it, you always agree with the choice. You always find yourself applauding. Yes, I know that nurse. She is outstanding. And so that's one of the awards that they give. The other one is an honorary recognition award to an agency or a person in the community. And I think one of the last ones was given to the Ulster County Community College at their, I think it was their 50th anniversary. It was a special award that was given to them. And the last award is always so meaningful because it's a nursing scholarship. Usually given, we provide the criteria in the spring or maybe a little earlier than that. And those are the applications for the scholarships. And sometimes we're able to give $500. Sometimes we're able to give $1,000, depending on the money that we have and how many nursing students qualify. The last nursing student that we gave an award to was really a virtual award because we never really got to meet her, but she was the only one that applied. And this is the kind of organization we have. Instead of saying, oh, well, we only have one, let's wait till next year. No, everyone agreed that since this girl applied and took the time and was deserving, she got a $500 scholarship this year when we weren't even meeting in person. So you can see it matters to be a member. And I hope those of you that are out there that don't belong, I hope you join us for the following year. That's me, I'm done. Thank you. God bless you.
So Jess, can we, do you want to open up some of the questions?
Yeah, so I'm just looking. Louise says that it was lovely to work with you as well, Lorraine. And Pat is asking, is there any function in the PNA for making recommendations to legislators and executives in support of either nursing issues or healthcare laws and executive orders? For instance, I think Biden and company needs to have a nurse on the new pandemic team he's setting up. I plan to contact them to find out a way, but organizations have numbers and maybe taken more seriously. So that's a great question, Pat. So we do have a legislative committee, and that would be the place to organize around that. And certainly we can do letter writing campaigns. We can visit our reps. We can organize through the Facebook page and the website to inspire people to do that from home in perhaps a less like all in the same room kind of a way. And so I would be more than happy to talk to you about that because I think that's incredibly important. And so if I will reach out to you, Pat, and we can talk about that. And then Anne wants to know if Kathy sent out the scholarship money yet. So I'll let Kathy answer that for you, Anne. Anne says we did a good job, Lorraine.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right. So I'm going to advance the slides for you, Sue. You just let me know when you're ready for the next one.
Okay, I'm good. Unmuted. Hi, everyone. I'm Sue Kehoe, and I've been with PNA for a while. Going through a transition to retirement, but did work at Health Alliance for 41 years. This organization, when I joined, I just realized the importance of it and the importance of having that professional forum to become a voice, to support each other. And as my colleagues already did a terrific job of reviewing, you know, our kudos. So helping grow new nurses through mentoring, education, and networking. So we kind of, Lorraine talked on that. The mentoring goes on, and sometimes we're mentoring and we don't even realize it. And I'm sure the people who are instructors, or perhaps, you know, it's not even just the old nurses. Like I've had nurses come up and say, oh my gosh, you know, you've made such a big impact on my practice. And I'm like, oh, you know, what did I ever do? But we are there for each other. We are role models for one another. We teach one another, and hopefully we are kind, compassionate, and thorough, and help to educate each other. It's not just the old nurses, it's really the young nurses right now, with the explosion of the internet, well, not just the internet, social media really is become such a big part of our lives. And those older ones of us are terrified by, and really slow, and kind of, we feel like babies again. And we need that mentoring to put the it all into our practice now, and ways that we can reach such a larger audience and have such a greater impact. There's so much opportunity there. And you know, the younger nurses, the younger people, they just make it look so easy. Like, look what we're doing here. Lorraine and I would never be able to put this together. So thank you, Jess. And the reaching people through Facebook and that there is just such a great opportunity for sharing and reaching people, not only in numbers, but at your own time. As Lorraine said, we're all so busy, whether we're still working or retired, somehow our lives just fill up, and maybe your only time is a little time into the evening or early morning or whatever our time is, and maybe we can connect through Facebook or whatever our venue is that makes it easier. So I agree with Jess in that expanding that is really important to the expansion of our organization as well. Finishing back on the prior screen, Jess, I did want to expand a little bit on some of the support that we do. So beyond that networking and the educational programs that we have, and we've done different things. Our annual meeting where we present our awards is purposely done on Nurses Week. It's a celebration, and we recognize not only special contributors to the organization and the community, but each other. And you know, we celebrate our nurses. And we do special little things when the nurses are kind of being inundated at the hospitals. We sent out special baskets for the nurses to let them know that you're thought of, you're supported, and we're thinking of you. We do little flowers during Nurses Week. We try to recognize the contributions of all of our nurses. As far as retired nurses, we have a large membership of retired nurses, and they bring to the PNA a lot of wisdom that they've gained over the years, different perspectives from the different areas that people have worked through. And they are a great, or we are a great source for volunteers and mentoring and other opportunities. Additionally, since we have such a, I mean, I consider it a fairly large membership, and I hope it grows. I think we're around 70 members right now, and hopefully we can increase that. But it's a great forum also for job and volunteer opportunities. We've had, when people are between jobs, and certainly with COVID, you never know what happens from 1 minute to the next if you're working in an area that has to take a pause, and you have a nurse who's available. There's it's a forum where we can put out that there's job opportunities, volunteer opportunities, and so I hope that that is utilized by all of our members a little bit more. Okay, next slide. So as far as connections and information sharing, so regionally, that we are a group, a recognized group. We have, you know, we're bylaws, we're an association. It gives us some validation in the community, and we share information with NYSNA. Now, we used to be part of the membership of NYSNA, and again, when they started eliminating our representation because we had supervisors or we wanted to represent students, we realized that we wanted to represent the whole of our profession and our growing profession, but we still support and listen to the issues from NYSNA, the educational forums, and we share information back and forth. So you will see that we present that. We only support as a group things that we vote on. So we don't automatically say, oh, because NYSNA supports it, we necessarily support it, because that has to be voted on by our membership, but we do provide the information both at our meetings and on in our Pulse Beat and on the webpage, etc. Other places, the Ulster County Preparedness sends us out information all the time as far as how can they prepare for different things, the cold centers, all of that. It's a great resource locally. The Office of the Aging, Mobile Mental Health, we'll talk about mental health a little bit more, Family, United Way, the O Positive initiatives. So we share information back and forth, and we try to become a one-stop, and hopefully that'll increase for sharing that information from those different agencies locally, so that we can get the word out to our membership as well at large. On the state level, NYSNA, of course, is a state organization as well. There's also the Center for Nursing, the Foundation for New York State Nurses, the New York State Action Coalition. And again, we get information from all of those, we share it along. And nationally, there's more than just the ANA and National Certification Specialties, but that's all I can think of for right now. But we welcome any information, again, to pass along to or share with our membership. So, and Linda, who I can't even say, Linda Upright, our newsletter editor, she searches for things. So as you find something that is pertinent to our profession, and you want it shared in our quarterly newsletter, please, we welcome you and ask you to please pass it along to Linda, so that we can include it in there for our membership. So no one knows nursing like nurses, and we feel it, we know what we do, and we see on the front lines what issues there are. Pat, I'm very excited that you're interested in getting a voice, because nursing sitting on committees is so important. And that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about today. So local initiatives, in the past, we weren't even allowed to go to, we got a shut door or people did who were looking to get a new contract or whatever. And we have lobbied for support for listening to our nurses on the local level, amongst all the other things that we do locally to support the nurses. Regionally in the past, I'll make sure we're going to get to that. Regionally in the past, we have done advocacy for the BSN in 10. So I know that's a little controversial with people, but it gives you 10 years to get your bachelor's in nursing. Older nurses are grandfathered in, but basically the initiative is to raise the profession of nursing to be closer in par to other colleagues, like physical therapy. They're now entry level, I think, is a doctorate of all things, speech and other professions that are healthcare professions. For just a 2-year level, we realized that we had to increase our academic professionalism, and did help and pass the BSN in 10. And the nursing shortage, we've been warning and warning, and gosh, we've been struggling with nursing shortages for years. We have gone all the way to the Philippines to bring back nurses, if any of you remember that. And as the baby boomers age, this nursing shortage is going to increase worse. They have increased funding to address the nursing shortage. They have, and we have helped to promote the advocacy for funding for advancement of the master's degree programs, because you have to have faculty to grow nurses. And so there's a faculty shortage as well. So those are some of the advocacy that we have done in the past. We have to keep going with it, because it is just a burning issues as far as nursing availability, and our voice needs to be heard. Additionally, we have done some safe staffing advocacy. Bedside nurses, it's so tough. You know, you're exhausted, you're pissed off because you're just so short-staffed, and there's initiatives that are ongoing that we have to have safe staffing. We have to continue with that. We need to, and it's an opportune time that they recognize the importance of nurses, and if there's not enough nurses there, the patients are going to suffer. We also had initiatives as far as heavy lifting. I know at age 60, there we go, Lorraine. My body is feeling the effects of all that heavy lifting, and some of the legislation that has been passed has affected the workplace, so that we have things that help us to protect our bodies a little bit more. You know, you talk about the football players with their concussions. Well, nurses get the back strain and so on. So those are things we have done. Now, current and proposed issues. One, the New York State Action Coalition is running a campaign that they have invited us to join and pass along, and it's very timely, and hopefully we all support this type of campaign. The website is on your screen. It's a face mask campaign, and it goes wear one, share one, and spare one. Wear one, because as you know, we wear a mask anytime we're in contact with our patients, but we are also role models in our community, and we should be wearing one and doing the social distancing, and letting people know how important it is. And it comes down to us and our patients. So the share one is either sharing a mask, which I always carry extra masks in case somebody needs one, but also sharing the knowledge of how important it is for mask wearing. So many people are, I'm over it, I'm done with it, this, you know, I'm done with the whole mask thing. And we can't give up. We have to, we're at a turning point where we can make a difference, and it's been shown to make a difference. So when we share one, share knowledge and share our mask. And spare one is, we're sparing someone's life. And that it could be potentially our spouse or ourselves, our patients. This is not a political statement. It's a public health issue. And I'll get off that bandwagon. So locally for mental health and the substance abuse services in Ulster County, the inpatient has moved out of the county. Now, that was done, we were preparing or responding to a directive to have a facility, the Mary's Avenue facility, available for to act as a COVID response in case we were inundated. So it was supposed to be a temporary measure to move our mental health and substance abuse services down to Poughkeepsie as part of our Westchester parent company. But it looks like that there is consideration of leaving that and not moving it back, which concerns many people. There's information out there, and then there's misinformation out there. So I think we really need to advocate for our patients. We also need to let them know, I did speak with, you know, nurses are great fixers. Like, we try to fix if there's a big, huge hole. All right, well, how do we take care of our patients now? There are services in place for our patients, but we still need to advocate for those patients. So we are being provided with what services are being available to help with those gaps. But it's a really crucial issue for our mental health patients, that we have all the support that we can, and on a local basis. So local politicians have and businesses have joined in, but where are the nurses? We need to be part of that voice, and but in a responsible way. We also need to provide what is out there and try to avoid any misinformation. Again, the future of nursing, we talked about the nursing shortages and the staffing issues. That has to be ongoing, and it's a wonderful time to be out there, and necessary to be out there. And healthcare is a top priority with the voters across the country. Looking at our whole healthcare system, and nurses, thank you again, Pat. Nurses have to have a voice in what's going on. We're the ones at the bedside or in the office, or the neighbors of the people who can't find healthcare. So we have expertise to bring to these crises. We need to use our collective voice. And please join us.
Great job, Sue. Let's just see. I think we got a few extra questions here. Let's see. Louise wants to know if we have an agenda for the upcoming year. We don't yet, Louise, and we would love your input. If you have some ideas, you can email them to us. The PNA also has an email account, which, just so you know, forwards directly to me. It's pnaulster@gmail.com. So you can send us your ideas there. You can send them to Linda through, by responding to the Pulse Beat email, or you're more than welcome to join us for a meeting as well and throw in your ideas. We'd love to hear from you and everyone what the deal is with what you'd like to hear, and we definitely want to be relevant and pertinent. Marge says, my growing concerns with social media is sort of sorting out the real information versus the growing amount of false information, with everyone vetting the information. 100% agreed. That's another benefit of being part of these professional organizations, is that they have teams of people that are doing the vetting on the information. And so we're working on trying to help share accurate, researched information, with the caveat that things change really quickly these days too, especially in relation to COVID and things like that. So yeah, it's hard to be able to tell. And as nurses, because we are trusted, it's very important that we be diligent in our word. People trust us, and that's great. Louise says health science students are struggling with clinical entry currently. The DOH is supporting clinical with COVID guidance followed by, and I do have DOH correspondence to pass along if we can, but I need an email to send it to. Okay, yeah, great. Send it to pnaulster@gmail, Louise, or you can send it to me, Jess G. Roby, ROBIE @gmail. That would be great. And you can also for those of you who are on Facebook, our Facebook page, anyone can post to that. So if you have information you want to post, you can copy and paste a link right in there. I just ask that you make sure that what you're posting is accurate. And Mary was asking Pat Russell how the PNA can help with getting mental health services back into Ulster County. So, Anne, these personal questions, I'm going to have you talk to people directly because they can't talk. Kathy says she did send out the check to our scholarship recipient. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. If you are, it looks like most of the folks who are on the call are already members, but if you are not, you can become a member by going to our website, pnaulster.com. And there is a link there. If you are an actively working nurse, it's $26 a year when you pay for the PayPal fee. And if you are retired, it's $20 a year. We are now accepting membership dues for 2021. So please join us. If you have a friend or your best buddy from nursing school who you think would make an excellent addition to our program, we would absolutely love to have them too. You can send them that link. I will email out the PowerPoint slides to everyone who registered for our thing today. So if you didn't register and you want the slides, let me know and I will get them to you. My email is Jess, G as in girl, Roby @gmail.com. I will also be sending out the recording from today's PowerPoint to everybody. So with the caveat that I have to figure out how to do that, but I am going to. If you're interested in joining a committee, we'd love to hear from you. I see that Ellen Tagney's on here, so I'm just going to give her a shout out. She was my first semester nursing professor, and I remember one of the first things she said was that nurses are not great at advocating for themselves. And it's hard when you are exhausted at the end of the day from fighting the battles for all of your patients to remember that you need to fight for yourself as well. And so for those of us who aren't on the front line, those of us who are retired and have some more time, we are in a perfect position to advocate for our other nurses and our friends and our coworkers. So this is a great opportunity to do that. And I have never forgotten that conversation, and I think it was either the first class or the second one, and I live by it. So this is a great opportunity to do that, and my hope is that we can really grow our numbers and people can chip in where they are passionate, because passion has power. So thanks again for joining us today. Looks like we answered all of the questions. And again, the website, pnaulster.com. You can find us on Facebook, Professional Nurses Association of Ulster County, and you can email us at pnaulster@gmail.com. I'm going to stop the recording and enjoy this absolute